Oh, very good afternoon. If you've just joined us, we are coming to you live from our studios in Auckland Park, Johannesburg. Welcome to the Week in Review, of course, where we take a look at some of the big stories to come out of the week and also perhaps continue our coverage on the voter registration that is currently taking place across the country. I'm your host, Diesel Wilson. It is just after 1 o'clock. Let's take a look at your headlines for today. Well, the voter registration weekend kicks off at more than 23,000 sites across South Africa. This weekend, we'll also see political heavyweights and party representatives on election campaigns in several areas across the country. Another 173 people have succumbed to COVID-19. It brings the total number of fatalities in the country to just under 86,000. Right, we've been bringing you rolling coverage of the voter registration that is taking place across the country. It's the last opportunity to register to vote in the local government elections come the 1st of November. Now, we're going to kickstart our coverage by crossing to our SABC News reporter, Mbalenhle Mthethwa, is currently in Soweto, monitoring the situation there for us. Mbali, a very good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. Walk us through where exactly you are stationed at this point. And in terms of what is transpiring, what have you noticed in terms of trends there?
Good afternoon, Liesel. Now, we know that President Cyril Ramaphosa is crisscrossing Soweto on a campaign, an election campaign to be exact. He's been to a number of places around Soweto, and he will be making his way here, Zone 8 in Naledi, at this very Methodist church that I'm standing outside of. But residents heard about this and decided to stage a protest and to blockade most of the roads, preventing anyone from actually coming here. And what they're demanding is that they want the president to speak to them and address them regarding service delivery problems before he can even enter into this very voter registration center. We understand that these people here are not the only people blocking the roads. There are people stationed at strategic points. It was very difficult for even the news team to actually even make its way up here. Roads are blockaded for more than 10 kilometers away from here. All this a way to try and prevent President Cyril Ramaphosa and his team from actually making their way up here. Now, what's happened here is that there's a group of people on my right that's protesting, but the camera person is just going to pan from the left and just go all the way around just to show you the police presence and the number of police that are here. The police nyalas, these are not the only police officials here. The other police cars on the other side. We're just going to walk and just go catch up with the protesters because we have secured an interview with one of them, and I see they're walking away, and I'm not even sure why. But, you know, I suppose it's been a long day. They have been protesting, and they have been trying to get their voice heard. I'm just going to try and speak to one person so that we can at least get an idea and a sense of why they are here, what the reasons they've brought them, the reason that have brought them out into the streets. Oh, yes, right here. Thank you so much. Chris Mungale, you agreed to speak to us.
Yes,
talk to us about your reasons for this very protest and what brought you out here in the streets. You've told me that, you know, the roads are blocked and that there are people on the other side. Also, just to make sure that, you know, it's not easy to come into this very same place. Talk to us about those reasons.
The reasons why we did that, we just wanted attention from our president, from our leadership. We couldn't get any help from no one. The reason we closed the district for not registration is because of we want attention. There's no violence. The police station knows about our problem. ESCOM knows about our problem. So we haven't had any attention. So this is the reason we are here. We're waiting for the president so that the president can help us.
Okay. And what exactly do you want to bring to the president's attention? Is it the issue of electricity, service delivery, water? What exactly is it?
All above that you have mentioned, all above. Electricity, delivery service, all of it, sanitary, and all of the service that you can mention. For now, we want to tell him that we've been voting for the past 24 years. We had the first councillor, we had the second councillor. Nothing has been done yet in Naledi. Everything has been happening outside Naledi. Everything has been happening outside Mdeni. But now we are here. We want to raise our concerns. We want to tell the president that we've been here. We've been waiting. We haven't got any help from anyhow from anybody. Yes.
So are you saying that what I hear you saying, and what I think I hear you say, is that you feel that opportunities or service delivery have actually been, you guys have been excluded, Naledi has been excluded from all the opportunities and service delivery opportunities around there. What exactly are your concerns? Do you not have electricity? Have you not had electricity for a certain period? Have you not had water? What exactly is it that you would like to bring to the president's attention?
We would like to bring the president to tell him that we've got a serious problem about electricity. Our serious concern is about electricity. We haven't had electricity for 2 months. That block hasn't had electricity for 3 months, and nobody hasn't come to our attention. So the main purpose and the main thing that really makes us to be in the streets, to close the streets, is only the electricity. That's what we want. The electricity, delivery service, and the people to come down to talk to us, because we are the ones who's suffering. When the elephants fight, we are the ones, that's the grass that suffers. So we are the grass, we are suffering. So we need the president to come here and help us. There's no help from anywhere. So we need to tell him what is being going on here in Naledi. Nothing has been happening, so we need the president.
And then what about, I saw you had a memorandum just a little bit earlier. And is this the memorandum that you plan to hand over to the president before allowing him to get in here?
The memorandum, we don't want to hand the memorandum to the president. The memorandum we gave the MEC, we've been everywhere with our memorandum. I'm definitely sure now the president knows about our memorandum, because the premier, even the premier knows about our memorandum. They promised that they're gonna send the president the memorandum. So now we're not gonna give any president the memorandum. We need him to tell the ESCOM people to come and give us the light. That's what we need today.
And is this prepaid electricity?
I cannot say it's prepaid, because ESCOM, since he came and put this box here, he never came and activated the boxes. He never came and activated the boxes. He promised to come down and bring his CEOs, his people, to come to talk to us, because we've been asking them to come to us. Frontliners are working. All of the frontliners, you are working. The clinics are working. Everybody is working. When you go to ESCOM offices, there's no one. Why? Why are they so special? Why are they afraid of? Because whenever we go to their offices, nobody's there. But all of the frontliners are working. The nurses, the doctors, we're wearing masks, we're sanitizing. Why are they not at their work of place? Why? We want to know today, why are they not working? Why are they getting paid if they are not in their place of work? Yes.
So there is a willingness from the community to pay for electricity and to pay for these services.
Yes, we told them straight that we needed flat rate. If you can pay flat rate, nobody will have all this problem, because each and every house, if it pop out 150 or 200 depending on the negotiation, if you count all of those houses, how much we gonna give them in a month? All that money is going to come back, and that's what we're asking for. We don't need fight, we're not fighting with anyone. We just want flat rate, and we need our electricity back.
And then I've just heard someone murmuring the words that the councillor that has failed the community. Is this an ANC ward councillor?
Yes. I want to show you our memo. Where's the memo? In our memorandum, we've got every signature, our councillor, PCO, and everyone, but they hadn't come to our party. Nothing has been come. Our councillor has been speaking so many things, we don't understand what is happening. We told him straight we don't need him now anymore, because he can't fix the problem. We need these big boxes to come and fix the problem. That's what we need now.
There we have it. Angry community members here in Zone 8 Naledi, essentially protesting and blockading the roads just to ensure that the president actually has to speak to them before going inside this voter registration center, which is at the Methodist Church. I'm just want to show you the amount of police presence over here. So on the other side, you saw there were police nyalas and so on. There's a lot more on this side, and I wish I could show you the roads, the state of the roads, it is very difficult. We were driving a big car and it was still very difficult for us to make our way here. It's going to be proved to be quite a challenge to get for the president to make his way up here because of all the rubble that has been left out on the road and so on. But for now, it's back to you in studio. We will keep you posted. We will be standing by to see if the president will indeed be able to come inside this very voter registration, or if he will in fact be able to speak to this group of angry residents who want electricity and who are calling for a flat rate. They say they haven't had electricity for 3 months and are saying the ANC Ward Council has failed this community. It's back to you in studio.
Thank you very much, Mbaleng Tetwa. Again, just in Zone 8, Naledi, in anticipation of the president's appearance. He's set to make his way there. As you've seen on your screens, blockades have been stationed around certain parts of the area in anticipation of the president. So it's going to be interesting to see how that address does unfold. But as we continue to bring you rolling coverage, moving on to our next reporter, Samkele Maseko. Again, we've seen the ANC president, Cyril Ramaphosa's leading members of the National Executive Committee on a 2021 local government elections campaign. Now, this weekend, political parties are campaigning all across 9 provinces and in almost all municipal areas of the country as voter registration opens. Crossing to our reporter, Samkele Maseko, as following that story, of course, we're going to be crossing to him live. Samkele, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. Throughout the day, we've been hearing issues of service delivery, issues surrounding water and electricity that has come up. Just speaking to Mbaleng, we've also heard the community requesting, for flat rates regarding electricity. Walk us through some of the issues that have resurfaced from the community to date.
Frozen.
All right, Samkele Maseko is obviously also in Soweto. He's been following the president as he makes his way. We are going to try and get him back again on the line to get an update. I think just to stay on our rolling election coverage for the voter registration weekend that is transpiring both today and tomorrow. We're going to see if we can cross to some of our other reporters today. It's a crucial weekend for the parties are out in full swing campaigning all across the country in 9 provinces. Just as we try and get Samkele back, we're going to cross to our reporter Ayanda Mhlongo, who is in KZN. Now, we've seen today the Nkatha Freedom Party, in fact, President Velengosini Hlabisa, is also currently monitoring the voter registration weekend in Ntuzuma, Durban. It's a township that has its own challenges. Our reporter Ayanda Mhlongo is there to give us the latest. Ayanda, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. I think contextualize where you are. What has the atmosphere been like up until now? And in terms of the concerns echoed by the community, what are the major challenges to date?
Yeah, very good afternoon to Lisa and good afternoon to our viewers. Well, in fact, Lisa, we have parted ways with the IFP President Velengosini Hlabisa, as you have said, that since this morning he has been visiting voting stations in the area of Lindelani in Durban. We have now moved to the infamous KwaMashu men's hostel, which in fact was supposed to be his next stop, as he's been, of course, today visiting the various voting stations in a number of townships here in the Durban CBD. Can say on the ground, Liesl, that mixed reaction to the election, mixed reaction to people coming out today to ensure that they verify their details, to check they are on the voters roll, and to register to vote for those that we have not. We've spoken to people in some of the voting stations who have come out to say yes, indeed they are going to vote come November the 1st. Other people saying that they have got nothing to vote for, and as a result they are not going to be participating in the upcoming election, and others simply saying that they are still going to think about it. So in terms of the voting stations that we visited from this morning, here at this voting station, this is one of 6, I beg your pardon, voting stations here in the KwaMashu men's hostel. We are told that indeed here they have seen quite a number of people that have come out here this morning. to check that their details are on the voters roll, but many others, of course, coming out to register to vote, including the youth. And that is quite important, particularly here, as in KwaZulu-Natal, 1.1 million of the 5.5 million voters are young people. 5.5 million of the voters in KwaZulu-Natal, 1.1 million are young people. But the ISC said that they were concerned as of the new first-time voters, only 49,000 have registered to vote. So it's one of the points that was picked up by the IFP president, to say he's happy to see the number of young people that have come out, but also as a party, in terms of their plans and preparations, they were saying that they are indeed ready for this election. They know the areas in which they believe very strongly that they're going to fare very well. The party, of course, if you look back in its history from 2011, did not do well in that election. That was after the split with the late leader of the NFP and founder Zanmalega Magwazamsi. The party then coming back in 2016 and managing to regain control of at least 10 municipalities, or 11 municipalities, bring the number to 13. And this time the president of the IFP saying that he's quite confident that the party is going to fare well. Another point that is quite important is, if you look at the history of KwaZulu-Natal in the build-up to the elections, is that of peace in the province and stability. A call was made by the IFP president to all political parties to ensure that there is peace and stability in this province, and also that voters are given that opportunity, that they have the right to go and exercise their right to vote, and that there should not be any disruptions today and tomorrow, but also in the days leading up to the election, but most importantly come November 1. And as a party, that they are pledging to ensure that there is going to be peace and stability in the province of KwaZulu-Natal. And just speaking of the peace, particularly in this area this morning, there were protests which led to, we are told, some of the voting stations starting a little bit later, opening a little bit later than they had planned. But now the situation is quiet. We've been moving around here, the men's hostel. It is quiet. As you can see, this is one area as well which is regarded as a hotspot. There has been a heavy deployment of police officers that have been deployed to this area. Just see behind us the Durban public order police. They are on the ground. And of all the areas, Diesel, that I must say that we visited this morning, this area here in the hostel, of course, due to the crime elements and the history of the area when it comes to political violence, this area we have seen the largest number of police officers that have been deployed here. Liesl?
Right, and I think just to recap some of the events that have transpired today, when we look at the trends of what the voter turnout looked like today in the areas that you visited, I mean, have you noticed that large numbers have come out to register for this final weekend? And then in terms of looking at the voter apathy sentiments that have also been echoed around this time, I mean, does it point to some of that? What have you observed throughout the morning?
I missed the second part of your question there, Lisa, but just speaking about the numbers of people that come out to the voting stations, they have varied. And some voting stations, we are told that there has been a number of people that have come through, more importantly, to check that indeed they are on the voters' roll in the ward in which they reside, and others have come to register for the first time. Not a lot of people. If you just looking across at the different voting stations that we've been through, we have not seen any queues outside any of the voting stations. The presiding officer saying that people have been trickling in very slowly. Of course, we still have the rest of the day up until 5 o'clock, so people could possibly still come in later on today. Others might decide to come in tomorrow to go through to the voting stations. But in terms of the people on the ground, different views. There are those people that are saying definitely they are going to be voting on November 1st. Others are saying they're not interested in voting at all, and as a result they see no need to even go to the voting stations to check whether or not they are on the voters' roll, and others are simply saying that they are still going to decide. So different views, Liesl, from the communities on the ground. Liesl?
Hlongo is obviously just monitoring the voter registration. She's currently in Guamashu, giving us the latest from that area. Thank you very much for your time. Obviously, all this rolling coverage as we monitor the final voter registration ahead of the local government elections set to take place on the 1st of November. We're going to return to our previous reporter. We've seen throughout the day ANC President Cyril Ramaphosa is leading the members of the National Executive Committee on a 2021 local government elections campaign. Now, this weekend alone, political parties are campaigning across all 9 provinces in almost all municipal areas of the country as voter registration has opened. Let's cross to our reporter, Samgele Maseko, who is following that story. Let's go to him live. Samgele, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. I believe you're back. In terms of where you currently stationed, just walk us through where you are in terms of some of the issues that have emerged. Electricity seems to be top on the agenda. Many residents, in fact, calling for flat rates at this time. What can you recap for us in terms of that?
Issues of electricity, Liesel, have been raised by the community. I'm just going to bring in Mpho Moerane, the MMC of the Environment and Infrastructure in the city of Johannesburg. MMC Moerane, they've raised issues of electricity, particularly in the Nomzamo informal settlement and here in Shawelo. What is the city of Johannesburg, in collaboration with Eskom, doing to sort out this issue of electricity?
Thank you, Samkelo. The city of Johannesburg has been in negotiations with Eskom from last year. Eskom board approved that Soweto in particular and other areas that are supplied by Eskom in the city of Johannesburg must be transferred to city of Johannesburg and must be supplied electricity by city power. The negotiations are advanced. We have the memorandum of understanding that we will be signing in the next 3 weeks to make sure that the transfer is smooth and we don't have problems. There are issues of debt and the network cost. The debt in Soweto, according to Eskom, is sitting at 7 billion. We say that we need to make sure that we do due diligence in making sure that it is a true reflection of what they owe. We believe that this debt, other people don't have meters. How do you come to 7 billion? So we will also approach National Treasury to assist us to look at other ways to deal with the debt, including a write-off. Because people of Soweto cannot afford 7 billion. They don't have money. Others, they don't have meters. How do you determine that they owe 7 billion? There are people who showed me their bills. They owe Eskom 100,000, but they don't have a meter. How do you come to that conclusion that is 7 billion? There's also issue of network. They say network would cost about 4 billion. We will appoint transactional advisors to make sure it is worth 4 billion. And once we have concluded that, then the transfer will take place. We're not taking over electricity. We're taking people. We're taking all. It means all the assets will now be managed by City of Johannesburg through City Power. Are
you not electioneering, Mr. Moerane, by essentially saying that 7 billion rand debt may simply be written off? Are you not just saying that because you are going to an election on the 1st of November?
We're not electioneering. The last council meeting, I think 3 council meetings, there was a motion that we should take over. We said no, we not support the motion. We are in process of taking over. So we are at an advanced stage of taking over. We are not electioning. We have seen for ourselves that people of Soweto really cannot afford. And that is why we say we have a plan as the city. We're not just going to give electricity. We are engaging with private sector to bring gas. We are engaging private sector to bring solar panels, so that if you cannot afford electricity, at least you can pay for gas. We've seen people that they buy tanks. They warm their house with gas heaters. It means they can afford to buy gas. So give them what they want to afford. So we are ready as the city to make sure that we give them alternative solutions to electricity.
The last time the ANC went in, there was an election in 2019. Voters in Soweto did not come out in their numbers due to bad weather, which ultimately affected the ANC's performance in the city of Johannesburg, the Johannesburg region, and subsequently the province. What are you anticipating on the 1st of November?
Well, we can only hope and pray that the weather is not bad for people to go out and vote. Today it was chilly in the morning, but now it's warm. We are hoping that come 1st of November, the weather is like this. We are determined that we will even get more than 50% in Soweto. We will even get more than 50% in Johannesburg. We will make sure that we get people out of their houses to come and vote.
Mr. Moerane, you are the treasurer of the ANC in the region. What are the preparations like, and when can we anticipate an announcement where the REC chooses those two names to be sent to the NEC, to the PEC, and subsequently to the NEC on the mayoral candidate for this particular municipality?
As the ANC in Johannesburg, we are ready. You've seen around, we have started putting posters. Our machinery through the elections team, it is very ready, and we are confident that we will win. The issue around the mayoral candidate, the NEC will give the REC a go-ahead to nominate. Firstly, the REC will nominate two names that will go to the PEC. The PEC will deliberate and send the recommendations to the NEC. The candidate will normally get interviewed by the top 6, or now we have the top 5, and then it will be taken to the NWC and NEC for a decision. Right now, we have not started that process. We're just waiting for the NEC to give us permission to do that.
Do you anticipate that mayoral candidate may be announced before the 1st of November election day or after election day?
We are told that the NEC did consider that, but they will wait for Deputy SG to give us direction.
Thank you very much, Mr. Morane. That was Mpho Morane, the treasurer of the ANC, and also the MMC of Environment and Infrastructure in the province. I'm just going to bring in community members. Mama, what are some of the issues that you are facing here in this community of Shawelo?
Iwe problem ine rabana yo apa Shawelo ndi mishumo. Youth ya borine yo chinyala nga manda nga dzimnyawo pe arali zwa zwingakona zwingakona dzi government akono general khabo baswa khamusi bajiwe baiswe rehab, and after that ba create le mishumo ngori abashumi maybe usashuma abo ndi zwinwe zwine zwa kho ba ita uri ba kono vela nda ba dai dzinyawo pe issue ya mishumo nga manda ngori electricity already boyamba bo president issue khulwane ndi ya mishumo apa Shawelo.
What did the president say to you on the issues of electricity? When can we anticipate that they will be resolved?
Bo president boamba na bathu ba Eskom, so I think that by next week bathu Eskom ba do ba khota kuchezoita mushumo ngoba pulipedzisa bu president.
My sister, can you also just put on your mask? My brother, before you talk, you can take off your mask when you are talking. As a young person, are you working here, or how is it like living in Shawelo?
The issue of young people is a problem in this community, because people are not working. How do you expect young people to pay electricity and old people to pay electricity, whereas there's no employment? Young people are suffering. There's nothing that's been going on in this community. Nothing is being said to us as young people. And the issue of electricity is not a fight that young people should engage themselves in. The issue of electricity is a fight of all people. Young people should be worried about getting employed. Young people should be worried about NSFAS. Young people should be worried about everything that is happening around them. That is unfair. Young people are saying, enough is enough. We've elected a young councillor who's going to be a young councillor in Ward 11. Our ward has elected a young councillor by the name of Mashamulilo. So we're saying, Viva ANC in the name of Mashamulilo.
Thank you very much. That was young people saying that they should not be fighting issues of electricity, but they should be fighting for free education, they should be fighting for jobs, and the issue of electricity is a battle that should have been done by the elder generation.
Samkele, thank you very much for that update. We'll continue to cross with you as the day progresses. I think just in conclusion, can you reiterate for us what the itinerary for the rest of the day for the ANC's campaign looks like?
The president will later on address a community meeting in Thokoza. He will be all out in the streets of Soweto campaigning. I assume that he will also go to the area in Soweto where Mbali is currently at. Can some of you here please put on your masks? There is a pandemic going around through COVID-19, so all of us must be safe. So essentially the president of the ANC will be going around the township of Soweto campaigning for the ANC, whom they seek to get over 50% of the votes of this particular township in order to try push them above that 50% threshold in order to be able to govern this particular municipality.
All right, as the ANC's voter registration weekend campaign kicks off, that's our reporter Samkele Maseko just giving us the latest from Soweto. This is the president is making his way in and around the different zones in Soweto, and we'll continue to bring you that coverage throughout the day. This as the first of the voter registration weekend kicks off in South Africa for the final time ahead of the local government elections come the 1st of November. I'll continue with more news in other provinces with thousands of Cape Townians still unregistered for the November 1st first local government elections, the Democratic Alliance is putting in one final push this weekend to make sure it gets as many prospective voters as possible registered. Now, the DA says this will be key to any party winning this year's election, getting as many as its own supporters as possibly signed up. Now, today, the DA leadership is crossing the Mother City Metro, which Gordon Hill-Lewis is contesting as mayoral candidate for the party. Take a look.
When we first got to Langa, we drove around a bit and we spoke to people on the ground. We went to the taxi rank. Of course, it's always busy at the taxi rank. We went to the taxi rank and we just asked people for their views and their feelings, asked them, are they going to be registering this weekend? Are they registered already? And the people we spoke to are very, I don't even want to say two-minded. They seem to be leaning towards not voting. They are either going to register or they have been registered already, but they say they don't know if this means they're actually going to go out on election day and vote. Their argument is that all that's happening in their area is they're seeing councillors get money, they're seeing councillors enriching themselves, but they're not seeing any services. So they're complaining basically about things like dirt in the roads, lack of good sewage, like just general things in the area that they are not happy with. And they say for this reason, at this point, they can't trust any political party, and they're speaking political parties, across all political parties. They say that they really don't know what it is that they are going to do come election day. And this is what I want to ask John Steenhuisen this morning is, what is the message that you give to those people who at this stage are just so tired of promises and of having their hopes dashed by political parties? What do you have to say to those people?
Well, I'd say to them to look very carefully at the political party offering, because you're going to have to vote. If you don't vote, nothing's going to change. Have a look at the parties and then decide which of those parties has a proven track record of delivering. Who's got the best track record of delivering? It's not true that all political parties are the same. If that was the case, why is the Western Cape, why is the City of Cape Town Metro the only financially viable metro in the country? Why is it the highest rate of service delivery? Why is it the lowest employment rate out of any metro? Why are services delivered here better than anywhere else? Why are there clean audits here? So not all political parties are the same. You've got to make sure that if one change, that you vote for a party that's got the ability to get those things done.
John, thank you so much. I just want to switch over to your mayoral candidate for Cape Town, Gordon Hill-Lewis. Jordan, thank you so much.
Pleasure.
In terms of inroads in Langa itself,
yes,
how has the DA done thus far?
Well, I think we've made some very small steps. I'd like to make some more steps in this election, and over the coming years, if we're lucky enough to win on the 1st of November, put in a real effort in this community and communities like it across the city to build our support base here, grow trust with these voters, build that relationship and show them that we are actually really caring, pouring resources here and want every single person in Cape Town to have a better life.
Jordan, there's always a lot of critique. People say that the townships are not being taken care of by the city like they would like to see it be taken care of. I mean, we know the issues with sewage, we know the issues with dirt delivery, we know collection, we know these issues within the townships. How do you deal with those kinds of complaints?
Look, I think there's a difference between the objective truth and what a very commonly held perception is. The objective truth on every measure is that Cape Town actually delivers the best services to the poor in the whole of South Africa. But there is also a very widely held perception that that's not true. So you've got to use the office of the mayor and the whole city, in fact, to address that perception and show people that actually you can have a better life in Cape Town, you can have all the services that you need for dignity, and that this is part of our commitment in Cape Town.
Jordan, thank you so much for your time, and I suppose you're going to be busy for the rest of the day. I think you're going to Grassy Park after this.
We're first going to Bergflit and then to Grassy Park, and I've just come from Atlanta, so it's a busy day, but please everyone go out and register.
Thank you so much for your time. That was Gordon Hill-Lewis, the DA mayoral candidate for the 1st of November elections, saying that the DA does provide services to all communities in Cape Town, and he says that stories that townships are not serviced, he says it's a matter of perception, and he says that townships in Cape Town are actually very well serviced by the city.
Obviously speaking to Gordon Lewis, of course, about the DA's plans. He had already crossed in Atlantis on his way to Bergfleet and also Grassy Park. This as they're urging voters to come out in their numbers and register to vote come the local government elections, which are set to take place on the 1st of November. Now, as you can see on your screens, these are live visuals coming through from Soweto. As we spoke to our reporter earlier on, Balenhle Mthethwa, this is the motorcade of President Cyril Ramaphosa, who's making his way into Zone 8 Naledi. As we heard from her, that the president has been crisscrossing Soweto throughout the day, but we've heard of blockades that have also been set up on various roads. This as the president was making his way. It seems like the president is now currently entering that zone, and we're going to be speaking to our reporter Balenhle Mthethwa to give us the latest regarding what the people are echoing in terms of the sentiments and concerns that they have about service delivery issues, amongst others, including water, housing and electricity. All this as the president is leading the ANC's campaign trail for the voter registration, the final one that's set to take place ahead of the local government elections come the 1st of November. We'll continue to bring you that rolling coverage as it happens here from the SABC. Right now, our reporter Balenhle Mthethwa is on standby. Balenhle, we've spoken to you earlier on. You've painted the picture in terms of the blockades that had occurred in Zone 8 in Naledi, where obviously the president was set to make his way. Now, on our screens, we can see the motorcade has entered. It seems the president is arriving. Walk us through what is the latest as that motorcade enters.
Good afternoon, Liesel. Yes, indeed, the motorcade has arrived. As you can see, we're actually standing in front of the car that President Cyril Ramaphosa is actually meant to come out of. Here he is coming out of the car, and we know that there are people who are saying that that the president will not be allowed to speak unless or go inside this particular voter registration center. As you can hear, there are cheers and cheers from the crowd, and people are happy to see the president right now, as you can see. But just a little bit earlier, before the president arrived, we saw clashes between those who are campaigning and those who are on the ground. There were clashes. The one side says they will not allow the ANC to campaign here, and that there should be silence, and that the cars that were actually stationed here with microphones and speakers should actually be chased away. And that's what we saw a little bit earlier. But right now it's a little different. It's a different situation now that the president, together with Gauteng Premier David Makura, have arrived. There are people protecting the president, as you can see, but we still don't know for sure if the president will be addressing the crowd and addressing some of the concerns that have been raised. As you can see, ANC members are just forming a hedge around the president, just pushing people back. We're also just caught up in that, but it is fine. We are going to get you the visuals and the story. But this is the situation on the ground. We're just waiting to see and to hear if the president will speak and address the crowd about the concerns that they've just raised. We know that they've spoken about the issue of electricity, and they've called for a flat rate, and they're saying that they've gone for 3 months without electricity. So that is the situation here in Naledi, and we have people trying to speak to the president and get the president's attention. We're going to try to get on higher ground, even if it means standing on top of one of the cars here, just to bring you those visuals. But the president has arrived, and it seems as though something is happening here. Someone will start addressing the crowd. We can't get to the president from where we are, but this is what's happening right now. So, as you can hear,
don't bring disruption here.
Okay, as you can see,
don't do that. Don't do that, please, man. Thank you. Amanda! President Ramaphosa, viva! President uzokhuluma nani maqabane. Angiyazi ukusebenza yakala nina fana usakhuluma kancane nje. Uzokhuluma nani?
Live visuals coming through from Zone 8 in Naledi. As you can see, the president is currently on our screens. The ANC president leading the campaign for the party. This as the ANC's voter registration weekend campaign kicks off. Now, the president has been crisscrossing around the area, of course, appealing to voters to come out in their numbers and register ahead of the local government elections, which are set to take place on the 1st of November. As you can see, he is surrounded by many residents who've come out to speak to him in the hopes of addressing some of their concerns that they have experienced. Amongst the issues highlighted include electricity issues, where earlier on when our reporter Mbalenhle Tetwa spoke to some of the residents, they highlighted the issues of activating the electricity boxes that had been installed there. Also speaking about their requests regarding a flat rate for the electricity, saying that COVID-19 has exacerbated their circumstances and affordability has really become an issue. Again, speaking to the issues of unemployment and again affording the services that has escalated in prices since then. But amongst that, we've also heard of issues of water and housing, which continue to plague many residents. So the ANC, with some of its party members, including Gauteng Premier David Makura on your screen. We've also heard from the Fikile Mbalula. We also see Pule Mabe in the mix there. Obviously, as our reporter Mbalenhle Mtetwa tries to get to a part of the area where she can get to speak to the president or get more information, we'll continue to bring you more of that coverage. But again, this is happening, campaigning happening in all provinces across the country as parties make their way to the different areas, appealing to voters. We've heard from the EFF, we've heard from the DA, have also had quite a jam-packed itinerary, and we'll continue to bring you that coverage throughout the day here from the SABC as it unfolds. Moving on from Soweto, today we've also seen the Economic Freedom Fighters leader Julius Malema making his presence felt in KwaZulu-Natal province. Now, early on, he was in Phoenix, just north of Durban, and he was making his way to Umlazi. Our reporter Simpiwe Maganya was there, and we'll take you to him as soon as we're ready to chat to him about some of the issues that the Commander-in-Chief of the EFF, Julius Malema, has highlighted, speaking to some of the residents on the ground. Again, also urging voters to register. Again, looking at the methodologies that have been employed by the parties to date, there's a very little time ahead of that 1st of November deadline where elections are set to take place. So it's going to be interesting to see how parties use their different resources and mobilize to appeal to the voters. Many concerned about the issues, raising some of the issues that have not been addressed over the past few years. And obviously we'll be hearing from all of them, all the parties as they lead their campaigns going forward. Right now on your screens you can see the ANC party president is currently speaking. Let's cross live to hear what he has to say.
Nina eningathakanga ama-mask ngicela ukuthi next time uma niza endaweni enje nifake ama-mask. Mina ngihlala ngiyifakile imask yami, niyambona no comrade ufikile Balula umbax nanga umbax niyambona na ufake imask. No premier wethu comrade Makura na ufake imask. No mayor wethu ufake imask. Nalo baba lo ngihamba naye lo niyambona lo umnyama ufana nami, umnyama ufana nami naye ufake imask. So sifana ukuthi sifake ama-mask sonke. Angithi siyezwana? Yebo president. Ngiyacela ngoba i-COVID isekhona isajikeleza phakathi kwethu sonke isikhathi. Okay, akere la nkutlwa. Ke COVID iteng hare haruna. Entse itama hare haruna re tlamehile hore re kenye di-mask hore bolwetse bona ba COVID bo ska re kena. So ke yona ntho e ke ikopang eno hore re dule re kentse di-mask. Tshwenye ya bobedi ka nako e ya COVID re itse re batla hore batho ba tlohang mo dilemo tse 18 go ya hodimo ba nke matsapa hore ba ilo vaccinate. Wa re bona rona kaofela ba emeng mona re vaccinated, re entse ente hore re itshireletse ho COVID-19 ka hobane ha o sa itshireletsa COVID-19 e ka kena ho wena, and re ntse re bona batho ba bangata ba ntse ba shwa ka speed fela o tloa o kwa ho motho o re sile la tseba hese tsoshile batho ba bangata ba almost 80,000 mo South Africa. So re kopa hore le lona le etse sure hore le vaccinate. Vaccinating e mahala, a o hlokahale hore o lo patala le sente, o kena fela bo vaccinating. Check le bo haholo hore le teng mona ke tla mona ka bane ke utlwile huthi ho na le mathata e le nang le ngo ho jwalo ke mathata a eng na? Ke mathata a motlakase a ke re ho jwalo. Mathata a motlakase ke ona a le tlisang ha bohloko. Jwale ke batla hore le tsebehe hore no ke utlwile ka ona mathata ano nje kahle ukuthi no kunobunzima bukagesi. Ke ntse ke tsamaya ho tlola hoseng ke ne ke le mane Orlando ke tloa Shawelo hona jwanong ke tlile mona ha ke tswa mona ho ya ke ya Moroka go na le dibaka tse ding tse pedi. Hohle mo re tsamayang teng re ntse re utlwa ka ona mathata ana a motlakase. Ke qeta ho bua le batho ba ko Shawelo. Batho ba ko Shawelo ba ne ba boulela ba kwatile ka nnete, empa ke le ka ipha nako ka bua le bona ka ba jwetsa hore no Eskom e tlo lokisa mathata ana a bona a motlakase. Ke a tseba le batlo tseba hore nini ba tlo Chiawelo ba qedile dilemo tse 2 ba sena motlakase. Ba ko Orlando ba qedile dilemo tse 3 ba sena motlakase. Jwale nthweno a butlwane le yona. Ke buile hantle le ba Eskom ka re mathata ana ke batla hore a lokiswe ka potlako. Ke batla hore a lokiswe hona jwale. A ke re la nkutlwa. Ke batla hore a lokiswe ka hobane motlakase ke ntho e bohlokwa bophelong ba rona kaofela. Re batla hore motlakase o kgutle. Jwale ba re jwetsa hore ho chile the mini station, the substation. Ba re di chile the substation. Ho shota the substation tse 42 mona Soweto kaofela. Ke le ka re ho bona a di batliwe di substation tseno di tle di tlo kenywa. So ba re no se ba fumanitse ding di substation ba tsileng ya hore tlo di kenya e hlile tse ding hape ba di odile di tlo ba teng. Jwale ke hodimo ha bona premier wa rona hodimo ha bona le mayor wa rona hodimo ha bona. Re itse re batlo re nthweno e lokiswe ka pele ka potlako o sa fela nako e telele. Jwale ke tshepa hore ona matsatsi ana latelang o tla ba ho e qalwa mosebetsi wa ho etsa di substation. Jwale ba ile ba re mathata a mang a bana le ngona ke yana ba re no ho na le batho e seng batho bohle, ho na le batho bao ba etsang di connections tse se teng molaong ba bitsa di nyoka a ke re a tseba ho na le bano ba totobelang di substation tseno bosiu ba ilo connector. Ho na le bano ba utswang dithapo tsena tsa motlakase. So mathata a bona ba le Eskom a hona mono. So ke le ka re ke a utlwa empa ho bohlokwa hore batho ba heso ba fumane motlakase. Bothata bo bong ba bona ba ile ba re ho nna ela monna a o time nthweno a o jwetse monna ono a time nthweno a re metjheng ya bolo mona a ke le mo jwetse a time nthweno a ke le mo jwetse a time nthweno a time vuvuzela ke nna vuvuzela fela ka jeblena. Jwale ba ile ba re bothata bo bong ba bona ke bona bothata bo bong ba bona ke a hore bana ho na le batho ba sa pataleng motlakase a ba patale motlakase. Jwale ha o le jwalo ba sa patale motlakase ba timela o molomo ka re no ke phoso nthweno a ba tlameha hore ba timele batho bohle. Ha batho ba sa patale motlakase a ba dile le bona empa ba ska senyetsa batho bohle. A ke re ho jwalo. Jwale e nngwe hape ba ile ba re ho na le batho ba reng bona a ba batle di prepaid ho hang. Jwale nthweno ya o sa batla prepaid e etsa mathata ka hobane ha o sa batle prepaid ho tjho hore ha o sebedisa motlakase a o fumane tsela ya ho sebedisa motlakase ka tsela e nepahetseng. O tlamehile hore o be le tsela ya ho sebedisa motlakase wa hao ka tsela e tshwanetseng. So prepaid le nna ke sebedisa prepaid a le mpona ke le tjena ke sebedisa ka hobane ke a tseba hore ha ke sebedisa prepaid motlakase o ko sebedisang o mo kana kang na So really, no. Ari dumele ngore re kre prepaid. Kabana how dumela prepaid ke yona ntho e tla o thusa. E tla o thusa o tla tseba hore o sebedisa motlakase o mokana kang na. Ke iponetse ka bonna lapeng mane. Kabane ha o sena prepaid o sebedisa account o sebedisa motlakase lololololololo empa highly prepaid wa o tlhokomela ka bane wa bona hore motlakase o jeha jwang ka tsela efeng le teng a hona hore ba ka o ropa ya di account ba o ropa na go engwe ba no ngwala fela hore o ntile di kilowatts tse kae jwale hona le bao ba lang bari bona ba na tšhelete ya o patala motlakase a ke re go jwalo a ba sebetsi ba tlhopheha so a ba kgone ho patala so ke re ho bona bano ke re a utlwisisa ka hobane mesebetsi a eyo empa go bohlokwa hore re ithute hore ha re sebedisa dintho tse jang tšhelete tse re kgonang go di fumana di ja tšhelete mo di hlahang teng le rona re tlameile o re etse matsapa sizame ngokwethu ukuthi sikwazi ukukhokha ngoba ukugenerator igesi kubiza imali igesi yethu iphuma le eMpumalanga bo kujamahla amalahla afakwe ku-power station kufakwe amanzi kufakwe oil kugenerate ke electricity bese ihamba ngale intambo lezi izofika la idlule yebo ma Cape Town yonke indawo so yonke leyo nto ibiza imali ayenzeki mahala kodwa ke uhulumeni wethu uthe ngoba siyazi ukuthi abantu bakithi bahluphekile batho ba bangata ba sebetsi mmuso o ile wa re tla thusa bao ba hlophehang bao ba senang bokgoni bao ba tsofetseng empa re batla hore ba tle ho rona ba tlo applya hore ba tlo fumana certificate sane sa indigent wa ya ho masipala o ilo applya wa ifumana ufumana monyetla wono and then o tla fumana 15 kilowatts sa electricity kgwedi le metsi o tsamaya ka yona tsela eno jwale ntho eno e etswa ke mmuso re etsa from Pretoria mane re be re romela tšhelete ho province e tlo province e tle ho masipala bao ba applyileng ke bona he ba fumana monyetla wono jwale re ho tlameile re kaofela rona ha re sebedisa ntho tse jwale tse tshwana le motlakase le metsi la re sena tšhelete mmuso wa kgona hore o thuse o etsa eng o meter halfway and look is hore mmuso ona and haona mmuso o tshwana le ona wa rona Africa e kaofela ka bana mmuso ona o etsa eng o supporta batho ba 18 million kgwedi le kgwedi ke batho ba feng batho ba baholo batho ba sa kgoneng ba leng mo mmeleng ya bona is either ke dihole and so on and le bana ba banyane 12 million ya bana kgwedi le kgwedi until 18 years ba fumana grant re fite mono dikolo tse ngata setse le free schools re fite mono re university bana ba rona ba bangata e seng kaofela ba bangata se ba kena university mahala and re patala di fees tsa bona re patale leng hape le mo ba dulang teng ba fumane tšhelete ya dijo kgwedi le kgwedi ke ya NSFAS jwale ho ila fitla covid mona ya re ha e fitla covid ra fumana hore di firme di kwetswe di shopo di kwetswe ka lebaka la covid ra re no re tla thusa batho ka grant nyana re eketsa ho yane e neng tse di teng ra nyolla hanyane re be re introduce entsha leyo entsha ile ye 350 niyazi ukuthi no ku apply abantu ba 6 million kuqala and isebenza ngalendlela uma ukutholwa ukuthi une grant enye uyitholayo awuyitholi leyo 350 and if ungatholi any grant uyakwazi ukuyithola manje second round seku apply abantu abayi 12 million uhulumeni wethu ubalele 18 million uphinde ubalele 12 million so fika kahle easy ku number enkulu kakhulu ku 30 million yabantu abancedwa uhulumeni okubonisayo ukuthi lo hulumeni lo ngiyatshela iqiniso eliphelele uwe wodwa lo hulumeni kulo lonke leli lase-Afrika onceda abantu abahlala la eSouth Africa njenge-government yethu ezandleni for uhulumeni wethu ezandleni and uphinde udlule lapho uwakha izindlu sesakha izindlu eziningi ezinikwa abantu mahala nje akekho uhulumeni engimaziyo la eAfrika oyenza into enjalo uthi uqede ukuthola indlu mawungakhona ukukhokha ugesi namanzi siphinde sikusubsidize sikufakele i15 kilowatts manje sithi lokho ukuthi lo asebenzi asinamali ngeke kusebenze bantu bakithi sifanele ukuthi sikhokhe ukhokhe lokho unakho ukuthi ukwazi ukuthola ugesi ukwazi ukuthola amanzi sifanele ukuthi sizifundise ngoba uyabona i-boycott seyidlulile manje ngesikhathi se-apartheid bengiwumunye walezo inkokheli ngisebenza nabomama umama u-Albertina Sisulu nobaba u-Isaac Mukhase silida i-boycott i-rent boycott sithi asinobhadala i-rent ngaphansi kwe-apartheid idlulile i-apartheid manje sekungene thina and sifanele ukuthi sikhokhe for amanzi sikhokhe for ugesi ngoba uhulumeni wenza izinto eziningi angithi siyezwana abantu bakithi ake rawukwana hona muni akukho hanti rawukwana retlameile hore re patale electricity motlakase le metsi ha o sa khoni o ya officing ya masipala kena a tla o fang tokelo ya hore wena o tlameile hore o fumane grant yenu ya metsi le ya motlakase so ka yona tsela yenu batho ba yeso re he Eskom o tla kgutlisa motlakase a o hlokahale hore re tshise mataere mo ditseleng and so forth baetapele ba lona ba re jweditse hantle hore go hlokahala hore ntho ya motlakase e lokiswe so yona he e tlo lokiswa e fihlile ditsebeng tsaka e fihlile le ditsebeng tsa premier wa rona ke ena o eme haufi le nna ke yona e fihlile le ditsebeng tsa mayor wa rona ke yona bobedi ba bona ba na le meriri le ba bona ke banna ba dulang ba nahana all the time gore ba dula ba scratcha ditlhogo tsena tsa bona ba na le meriri so le batho ba bona ke yona premier wa rona ke premier wa rona mayor wa rona ke yona o mokhutsanyane nyana le yena e palatla mmona so re he no mamelang emampeli
You were singing that disrupting.
No, ke a utlwisisa hantle mathata a ntwena a motlakase gore le batho bao ba phelang ka oxygen a bana monyetla wa gore ba phele hantle So that is why re batla gore motlakase ona o khutle ka pele ka potla ke ona ntwe re tlhokang eno. No, abuti wa ka o ka se kgone go khutla ka je a re be realistic empa taba ena se tse fitlile ho rona le re bona re le tjena ke na le fikile mbalola mona ke setho sa National Executive ke ona umhlangano omotlenyana ba motlenyana not completely hanyane fela wa to mona ba re ntsafela so ke re are being realistic taba ena e fitlhile ditsebeng rona and re a sebetsa e fitlhile le ho nna ke ile ka re ho bona a o etsahale hore motlakase wa batho ba Soweto o kgaolwe ka tsela ena ene ka re batho ba Soweto ba na le kutlwisiso e seng gore ba batla ho patala empa a re lokiseng taba ena ya hore motlakase o khutliswe ke hona batho ba Soweto ba tla kgona ho patala ba tla dumela hore o kene di prepaid gore re patale ka di prepaid a ke re ho jwalo jwale ke tatella ka hore ke a tseba bongata ba lona le batlo bua empa a rena yona nako le teng re ka se ke ra kgona hore re akaretse batho bohle re bue kaofela rona so amohelang fela tlhaloso e ke le fileng yona ke le file tlhaloso e feletseng a hona bohlale bo bong bo fetang bona ene re tlo e lokisa taba ena ka bane ke yona taba e bohlokwa e re tlabeileng gore re lokise re tla e lokisa le bana ba banyane ba utlwisisa lona ba baholo hao le hloleha ka e utlwisisa so o kisisang taba ena ka bane re batla gore e lokiswe ntho ya o qetela ke ena ke a gore ra tseba le gore mathata a mang a batho ba eso ke mesebetsi a ke re go jwalo batho ba bangata ba sebetsi le yona eno ya mesebetsi re ntse re le busy le yona re ntse re lokisa go na le ntho tse ngata tse mmuso ona o di entseng e nngwe ya tsona re tlo e lokisang ke ena ya mesebetsi re tla ha mesebetsi gore batjha ba rona ba fumane mesebetsi ha re ntse re tswella pele ke qetella ka hore hosane le tsene letsatsi la ho register re bao ba sokang ba register ipheng nako le lo register ka bane di tlhopho tsa masepala di etla di tsileng re batla hore ANC ilo wina di-elections tsena e ska tlola e sebetsa le diphathinyana tsena tse ding tse e hulelang morao ka hobane ha le sa vote ka bongata ba lona le tlo re sitisa hore re be le matla ano a o phetha ntho tsohle tse le di batlang ka hobane ntho tse le di batlang di tlamehile hore di etswe ke mmuso e re tsebang hantle hore ka nnete o supportwa ke bongata ba lona so re a re yeng re ilo registera hosane ka morao ha mono re ikemisetse hore re ye ditlhophong re tla boela re khutla hape re tlo le bona le nna ke tla khutla ka bane ke batla hore ANC e hlole hantle ha monate mona Johannesburg ke kopa hore rukana hona mono ke qetela ka hore nna ke tla khutla mona re tlo buisana hantle ebile re ka no fumana le nako ya hore re dule fatshe re buisane gona jwale hona le more mathetseng teng re a dibakeng tse 4 ka jeko ke bomang ba khathileng okay re kukile ba khathile ke bana bao batho ba ne ke bua ka bona gore hona le bao ba khathang dithapo tseno ho na le bano ba etsang dinyoka-nyoka. So re re he nano mamela re re he a re tla bua le Eskom ya kutlwile. Eskom ke yona e tla thusang ho lokisa motlakase wa mona. A ke ra utlwana hona mono. Amandla viva ANC, viva ANC, viva. Ka leboha, ke tlo kgutla le saleng hantle. Mandla.
All right, that is, of course, President Cyril Ramaphosa in his capacity